Gather around. It's time for the show to begin. Ladies and gentlemen, this is...
Hey everyone, my name is Jason.
Hi friends, it's Desiree Josen.
Alright, there were so many matches this year that were just too much.
So this won't be a shocker because we've had a handful of really awesome matches that we just can't stop talking about.
How many times have these guys fought? Like it's been quite a bit.
I've been saying this all year. They're just so great to watch. We saw the heel turn coming, and then when it happened, nice and bloody, both dramatic and beautiful.
You are now entering the ring with Shoots and Ladders podcast.
Shoots and Ladders. WrestleMania match countdown. What's going on, everyone? My name is Jason.
Hi friends, it's Desiree Josen.
All right, when Des and I first started this podcast, we were counting down until we can actually talk about our favorite WrestleMania matches. We are officially in Mania season, and we decided to list some of our most memorable matches. We tried to do our traditional countdown, I promise you, but it was impossible for the both of us because we loved way too many. So we're just going to list 10 matches that are memorable to us in no particular order. We want to be very clear about that. What are your initial thoughts, Des?
Yes, let's make that very clear. There is no particular order, and if I could do a top 20, a top 50, I would still have a struggle with it. Let me tell you, this top 10, if I could make everything a 1A, 1B, 1C, I would. And I just think these are the greatest matches ever. And it just takes me back to when I was a young fan too. So, yes.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. And to be honest, there were mid-card matches that could easily be on this list. But again, we're just going to do 10 that stood out to us. And when I tell you this was hard, this was really, really tough. All right, Des. So what is the first one on your countdown?
Okay, yes. Be very clear. Not my top 10. Okay. All right. So we are going to go with, Taker and Shawn at WrestleMania 25. This was like the show of the show. It's just like two icons going at it. The kickouts, even JR's commentary with it all. Start to finish, the entrances, the ending. This is the one where Shawn flips off the top rope and Taker puts him right into a tombstone and pins him. So good, and I believe that was the number 17 win for his streak. So, yes, unbelievable match.
Yeah, 100% FYI, that's on my countdown. Again, we have not seen each other's list. There could be some overlap, but then again, there may not be because there's so many matches. But yeah, 100% that was absolutely legendary. To Legends, I thought it was so cool that they set up that entire storyline, and it stemmed from that Royal Rumble previously. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that was just absolutely, hats off to everyone that participated. And fun fact, it's apparently that's what got Bret Hart to watch WWE again.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another just a little bump. Yeah, exactly. All right. I know we have 10, but Des, I cheated. Okay. Well, but this makes sense. Again, we did this in a previous podcast, but it's the arc. It's John Cena versus The Rock in 29 and 28.
Okay.
And I say that just because I really do think they were basically, even though they were two different matches, they were, they basically fed off each other. The storylines were set legit a year before for both of them. Mm-hmm. It elevated John Cena to a new level, and it also was a reminder that no matter how much time The Rock takes off, he's still going to be relevant. So my criteria in this, and I'm sure this was pretty similar to you, was the quality of match, how it affected storylines at the time, mm-hmm. and just how it was personal to me. So the quality, obviously, both these matches were amazing. John Cena captured his title the year after, but the first time it was just legend versus legend. Storylines, this was the best mic work probably of any feud I've ever seen. And then personal, I actually attended this WrestleMania and for WrestleMania 28, and obviously 29 was the year after. But again, I just kind of think of them two as the same.
And how fitting. Who knows? We may get a part 3 this year for Mania.
That would be very special. All right, number 9, who you got?
Hey, they're sitting behind me. It's Bret Hart and Steve Austin. I love this match. I watched this over and over. It has that infamous picture of Steve Austin bleeding from his head. And funny enough, Vince strictly told them no blood, no color for this pay-per-view, and they felt like it was appropriate, and it definitely was. And this was the cool one where Stone Cold technically didn't tap out. He passed out in his own blood, which was just amazing. I love it. I mean, two amazing guys going at it with huge egos. Yeah. I can't get enough of this one.
Yeah, 100%. And also, just to add on that, I mean, look, let's be real. This is actually what really put Stone Cold over. The following year, he ends up winning the title. And yeah, I mean, this was the match. So hats off to you. FYI, this is on my countdown.
Nice. Right.
All right. The second match of my countdown, I'd be shocked if this wasn't on yours. Talk about legend versus legend. The Rock versus Hulk Hogan, WrestleMania 18. I specifically remember the crowd participation in that match gave you goosebumps. I wasn't even at the arena, obviously. I was just like, I remember actually, this was in Tallahassee. This was my freshman year, and we were at a Hooters bar, and everyone was just so locked in. I just thought this was absolutely. It was just so, like, you could just feel the emotion, and like they still talk about that match to this day. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. The Rock was the up and comer. Hogan was a solidified legend. I thought it was so cool that they had Rock get the W, but this definitely ascended the Rock to new heights.
Like Hollywood versus Hollywood.
Yeah, true story. All right, number 3 for you.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels, Iron Man.
That's my number 3.
I mean, there are no words for this one. This one is just iconic when it comes to Mania, especially for them too. I mean, it's the battle of the technician and the showman. You can't top it. These are the best of the best, and this should be a history lesson for wrestling, for stamina, storytelling, just like this giant feud of these two guys. And I mean, come on now, and Shawn wins. And that's the picture that I had Bret Hart sign for me when I met him, because I was like, I'm going to meet Shawn one day, and they're both going to sign it. So these two are amazing.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. This was literally my number 3 on the list, so we're just gonna harp on each other.
Yeah.
So funny enough, I fell a little bit out of wrestling around 93, 94, and 95 for the most part. Late 95 was the NWO, so I started picking up again. But what got me to WWE again was I thought that was so cool for Undertaker and Diesel, even though I didn't have them on the countdown. I just thought that was so cool for 2 7-feet dudes to go against each other. But the Iron Man match, and to finally pass the torch to Shawn Michaels.
Yeah,
I know in real life they didn't. They kind of had some heat, but this match, first off, and I thought hats off to creative for having it a 0-0 draw until and forcing overtime. I honestly didn't see that coming. I don't think anyone knew what to expect, because the first time anyone did it. Yeah, exactly. Shawn comes down with the zip line. I mean, come on, like they still have that to this day. Like that's just. Yeah. Oh, that's just too much. I love it. But yeah, you actually picked a good one, and so did I.
Yeah.
All right, number 4. Who you got?
Okay. Okay. It's the tag TLC match.
Okay. Nice.
Dudley Boys, Hardy Boys, and Edge and Christian. I mean, I watched that, and I can't believe that their bodies survived that. They were torn in half, and after rewatching it, the ladders were really high. Those weren't regular, I feel like, those weren't the ladders that we typically use. And just some of the spots with Edge spearing at Jeff from the top of the ladder. And then there was another spot with Bubba and Matt Hardy at the top of it, and then someone pushes them, and then they fall from the ring into a table. It's just one after another, and it's a banger. And what I love too is the crowd. I had to go back and rewatch the entire crowd. Everyone is on their feet from start to finish. It is so loud in there. I can imagine sitting in there watching that match. It was insane. Yeah.
And listen, what's crazy about this is why this countdown was so hard. This technically, generally speaking, traditionally, a singles match for the world title is always going to be the headliner for Mania. Mm-hmm. I would argue you could have easily justified for this to be the main event and been completely justified in doing so. Obviously, it was a tag team match, was different, but it was that good.
So good.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And every one of them, obviously I'm an ECW guy, so the Dudleys, but 3 out of, and then the remaining 4 won the world title at some point. So I mean, that just speaks volumes of who was actually in this match. So yeah, I actually had this on this match, but I had to delete it because I only had 10. But yeah, I know. This is so hard. All right, my number 4. I know this is wrapped in controversy, but we have to give credit where credit's due. Again, the emotion of this was just unmatched. But WrestleMania 20, Chris Benoit versus Shawn Michaels versus Triple H, and him winning. It's so cool to root for someone that has been fighting and chipping and just could never get over that hump and was just thought as just a mid-carder, but he finally did it. Mm-hmm. The confetti, him raiding the title, and then to cap it off with Eddie embracing him in the middle, like you couldn't have asked for anything better. It was in Madison Square Garden. I had to put this on. I know it was wrapped in controversy, but I had to do it.
Hey, it is what it is, but it was a good match.
All right. Who's your number 5?
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, we're gonna see a common theme with me, and it's gonna be really obvious who my guys are. Randy Savage and Steamboat.
Okay.
3. And it's just because Randy Savage is my number 1 guy. And this one was for the IC title. And so it wasn't for the actual heavyweight title, but this is the one that stole the match. Like, it stole Mania. That was true showmanship. And what I love is Randy Savage, in multiple interviews to this day, he literally writes step by step of every move that he's going to make. And he made Ricky Steamboat memorize everything, where they were quizzing each other to say, what do you do after this? What do you do after that? And it was just perfect. And I think that is one of the best matches I have ever seen still to this day. So good.
Yeah. No denying that. That was an absolute legendary match. 100%. Okay. Mine, this is very special to me because I attended this as my first WrestleMania. Shawn Michaels versus Ric Flair in the retirement match. I had to do it. The ending of that match was beautiful. I thought that storyline was one of the coolest storylines to have. I remember just when Ric Flair said, "Hey, bring it to me," and Shawn said, "I'm sorry," and he did it. That was the perfect finish. So yeah, I had to put it on. And I was in attendance. There was a standing ovation in the Citrus Bowl. Everyone was on their feet to acknowledge Ric Flair. So I had to do it. It was too good.
How lucky are you to have seen that in person?
I know. I'm so blessed. Thank God. All right. Who's your number 6?
Okay, we're going to go with Steve Austin and The Rock.
Okay.
And Steve Austin's final match. This was huge. I mean, how fortunate are we to watch these 2 guys evolve, and we watch them live and compete. And it's like the best of the greatest shit talkers, so charismatic. They are just the chemistry that they have in the ring and the respect that they have. And the fact it was like rock bottom after rock bottom. I think he had to do 3 or 4 to get Steve Austin down. And then at the very end, when he pinned him, he pushes the ref away. And you can tell in the interviews, he bends down and he's telling Steve Austin, thank you so much. I love you so much. And it's just like, this is what I love about wrestling. It's so good. And that, I mean, Steve Austin is up there with probably, I think he is on my Mount Rushmore, but it's just phenomenal to watch these two go at it. And maybe, just maybe, we'll see some Stone Cold action at Mania since we're going to be in Vegas. Who knows?
There you go. Sound like you got a little choked up there. I love it.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of just memorable moments in WrestleMania history, but just wrestling history, I'm going Ultimate Warrior versus Hulk Hogan at my number 6. This was first time that I ever remember seeing an IC versus the world champion. Ultimate Warrior was on the up and up, but I to be honest, I didn't expect. I think everyone was like, Hulk Hogan would find a way to win no matter what, and the fact that Warrior did. But it's all these years later, and we're still talking about it. That I think that actually ascended WrestleMania to new heights as well. I mean, WrestleMania 3 had its due. Don't get me wrong, but WrestleMania 6 with that particular match, it's really, really, really just up there as far as just memorable moments. So
100%. And Warrior was so over at that time. He was hot. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, had to do it, and that crowd was hot in Toronto. So hats off to them. All right, number 7 for you.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna do Taker versus Triple H, Hell in a Cell.
That's my number 7. Yeah, that's funny. Okay, go ahead.
With Sean as the ref.
Yes.
I mean, this was a dream come true with the Attitude Era kid in myself, where this is the one where I actually got emotional towards the end. With Sean interfering with the sweet chin music, and then just all these elements of them together. And then Taker still wins. And then he pulls Triple H out and they walk up the ramp and they all hug. It's like a mini curtain call a little bit. And that when they're all standing there at the top and everyone's cheering them on and they're all standing there together, that gets me as a fan. Oh God, I miss them. I love them so much.
I was in attendance for that match.
I know you were.
So that's part of the reason why I put this. The other thing too, I don't want this to fall by the wayside because this is very important.
Yeah.
The way they set up this match with the back and forth, and then him calling him out and saying, that Sean was always better than you, and then he straight up said, you're the last of our kind. That promo work was insane. The previous year, where it was supposed to be Undertaker returning and then Triple H coming out, and they didn't say a single word, but they just looked at the sign, and Undertaker did the throat slash, and Triple H did the chop. That was their promo, and not one word was said. So the build-up for both these matches is just unmatched, and Undertaker said it best. He said, look, we're the last of our kind. So I don't want that to fall by the wayside, because that's another reason why this match meant so much. And the fact that I have Sean as the special guest referee topped it off. But yeah, that was my number 7. I had to put it on, especially since I was there to witness it. Okay, cool. All right, number 8. Who you got?
Okay, it's an oldie. I'm going with Hulk versus Savage, Mania number 5.
Yeah.
And this was a build-up from after they were together as the Mega Powers. And so we could see the slow burn of Savage. Just, he was hating Hulk and so jealous of his relationship with Miss Elizabeth. We knew he was going to go crazy. So this was right after that. And we really thought that I was, after I watch it and I still know what happens, I'm like, Savage still should have won, but, with that damn leg drop.
Great match. I had it at one point in time. Again, we only have 10, which is so crazy. All right. I'm going one of the greatest technical matches ever that I watched. WrestleMania 10, Bret Hart versus Owen Hart. It opened Mania. Owen got the win, which I thought was brilliant because they knew that Bret was going to win later. I thought that was amazing, and the fact that was one of the greatest technical matches I've ever seen, and I loved Owen Hart. He was my favorite wrestler at the time, and I just love. He was so good because I have an older brother too, so
Like
I
the
was
little
younger
brother.
brother. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, it was so just phenomenal. And again, like I mean, they've wrestled for so many different times before, but it was just brilliant storyline wise. But that was one of the greatest technical matches I've ever seen.
That was on my list originally. It was so good.
All right, number 9. Who you got?
Okay. My boys with the click. It's Sean versus Razor.
That's my number
Internet.
9. That's my number 9. Sorry to you. That's funny.
It's so good. And just some of the spots just make me laugh. It's where there's one part I just replay it over and over. Sean gets to the top and Razor hits the ladder, and he falls and he bounces off the top rope. And it's I don't know, it's just so funny to me. And then he falls again and gets his leg tied up in the rope and he can't get out. And good old Razor climbs that and wins and just falls. So good. And that's actually the set that I have that I bought last year at the convention. I mean, these two are phenomenal. I mean, Diesel came out with him and then he got kicked out and left. And it's just, that's just pure nostalgia.
1000%. And think about that match set up future ladder matches to come. It set up Money in the Bank, which was invented at WrestleMania. It set up TLC. So that match was an innovator in so many different ways.
And they only used one ladder.
Yeah, which is kind of insane. But yeah, that match was just, it's funny that I had back-to-back WrestleMania 10, but WrestleMania 10 was so iconic. But yeah, that match was really up there. And again, this is a mid-Carter match, but it was so special that, I think we had to put it on.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Who is your final?
Okay, so this one is it's a core memory. So this one is more personal than anything. Whenever I think of wrestling, I think of this particular match. And I was little. I was probably maybe like 5 years old, 6 years old watching this. And it was so, I still talk about it still to this day. It's WrestleMania 7, Warrior versus Savage. Okay. And man, Warrior, man, he tore him up. But this is when he came out as Macho King with Sensational Sherry. She was wearing her silver dress, and she was only associated and managed winners. And so when Warrior pinned Savage, she walks in there and kicks him and beats him up. And then we pan to the crowd and we see Miss Elizabeth. And, this was after their breakup. And she runs in through the crowd, pulls Sherry off of Randy Savage, and they reunite. And it was the best thing ever. And that's one of my core memories of wrestling. I will forever think about this, and I love it. Oh, so good. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Listen, great choice. Okay. I cheated for my last one because I cheated.
Of course you did.
But this makes sense again. It was your number 1. But Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker in 25, and then Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker in 26. I had to, because I think they were the same.
That's acceptable. Okay.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. I had to. This was just, the WrestleMania 25 match was just off the charts. We're still talking about it to this day. The way they finished that was amazing. The way they set that up, the way Shawn stepped up and said, you know what, it was so good. I'm dwindling down my career. What a better way than to put Undertaker over, keep his streak alive. And when he did the throat slash, I actually got kind of choked up for that too. So it was, I couldn't have asked for anything better. But when you talk about just getting choked up for certain matches and stuff like that, had to be for this. But yeah, I kind of think of those, the two are the same. But yeah, I start off with a banger, I had to end with a banger, and yeah, this is just too good.
How great are these matches? Like we look like kids just with these big smiles on our faces, and I love this so much.
Big smiles on our faces, walking down a history of over 30 years, which is crazy. I mean, these matches range from way back in the 80s until now. So yeah, I'm with you. This is so much fun. We first started this podcast. This is something we were looking forward to, and I'm so glad we were able to do it.
Yeah. And, we're only a few weeks out from the next WrestleMania, and this one is going to be insane.
Absolutely. All right. Any last final thoughts that you have?
Let's do another list like this again.
Yeah. Let's do another list, and we can't use any of these matches, and it's still just going to be just as hard. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, this was so much fun. This is the greatest time of the year. Us wrestling fans, we just glow when we talk about Mania. So
absolutely, and I think I counted. I have Shawn Michaels at least 6 times. So my list sounds like yours, which is funny.
Literally, it's really interchanging. It's between Shawn and Randy Savage. It's obvious, and Bret Hart. So yeah, whatever.
All right, well that wraps up this fun-filled episode. Please DM us with your greatest matches. DM us at The Chutes and Ladders. Like always, please like, share, and subscribe both on YouTube and Spotify. Once again, my name is Jason.
I'm Desiree Josen.
All right, until next time, have a blessed day and a blessed week.
Bye, friends.
Chutes and Ladders. Follow us for more content.